Not all opposition is meant to be resolved. Some divergence clarifies who you are. The question this week is not how to eliminate friction, it is how to remain grounded within it. This is the weekly energy reading for March 1st, guided by the I Ching and the Tao Te Ching. Last Sunday opened with Hexagram 16, with no changing lines, a stable condition. Enthusiasm, thunder over earth, movement available, ground receptive. The structure itself was steady. That steadiness defined the week. Hexagram 16 did not demand correction. It invited coordination. Energy gathered, not loudly, not chaotically. Deliberately, enthusiasm did not spill outward. It organized. Momentum did not overtake discernment. Discernment steered momentum. Where tone was correct, response followed naturally. Where tone drifted, it was refined early. There was no dramatic breakthrough, no outward conquest. But there was cohesion, plans simplified, conversations stabilized, boundaries felt less defensive and more clean. Friction appeared in small ways. It did not destabilize the whole. It revealed where refinement was still required. Each small correction prevented larger rupture. That is the intelligence of a stable 16. Enthusiasm without discipline scatters. Enthusiasm with discipline builds. Last week built, not visibly. Structurally, energy did not leak. It gathered around what was aligned. Nothing had to be forced. Nothing had to be conquered. Coordination held. That is the ground we step from now. This week opens with Hexagram 38, opposition, changing at line 3, leading to Hexagram 8. Opposition does not automatically mean conflict. It describes divergence, different perceptions, different priorities, different interpretations of the same event. The structure is not collapsing, but the mind may react. Line 3 is where obstruction feels personal. Progress appears delayed. Movement seems blocked. There is a temptation to assign meaning too quickly. Emotional reaction rises. Mental storytelling accelerates. Line 3 cautions against forcing alignment. It warns against pushing through perceived resistance. Restraint is required, not silence, not suppression. Restraint? If emotional interpretation intensifies, divergence hardens. If steadiness is maintained, divergence clarifies alignment. The change becomes Hexagram 8, holding together, union formed through recognition, not persuasion, not argument, not control. Holding together gathers what resonates naturally. It does not coerce sameness. It reveals who stands in shared orientation. The movement from 38 to 8 is not reconciliation through force. It is cohesion through discernment. Restraint prevents fragmentation. Clarity determines belonging. This week does not ask you to eliminate difference. It asks you to regulate your response to it. Opposition handled correctly becomes refinement, and refinement determines what holds. Tao Te Ching Chapter 26 teaches that heaviness is the root of lightness. The heavy is the root of the light. The unmoved is the source of all movement. Thus the master travels all day, without leaving home. However splendid the views, she stays serenely in herself. Why should the lord of the country flit about like a fool? If you let yourself be blown to and fro, you lose touch with your root. If you let restlessness move you, you lose touch with who you are. The stable is the master of the restless. When the mind becomes reactive, it becomes light in the wrong way. It lifts off the ground. It spins. It narrates. In Hexagram 38, line 3, that is the danger. Emotional reaction, mental storytelling, interpreting obstruction as threat. Chapter 26 returns us to weight. Weight is not heaviness of mood. It is groundedness. It is proportion. The sage travels all day, yet never leaves the heavy cart. Movement may occur. Difference may appear. Tension may surface. But the root remains undisturbed. When leadership becomes light and reactive, it loses authority. When perception becomes agitated, it loses accuracy. Lightness without root becomes volatility. Root without agitation becomes stability. This week asks for wait, not withdrawal, not escalation. Wait. When the inner world is fed with steadiness, outer divergence loses urgency. When the mind is anchored, stories dissolve. The Tao does not chase agreement. It remains centered. It does not react to every ripple. It stabilizes the current by remaining deep. Heavy is the root of light. If you remain rooted, enthusiasm does not scatter, opposition does not inflame. Cohesion forms naturally. This is how 38 becomes 8, not through persuasion. Through grounded presence, authority that is weighted does not announce itself. It organizes the field quietly. This week is not about resolving opposition. It is about refusing to destabilize yourself within it. When weight is maintained, lightness becomes grace rather than volatility. That is what will hold.